The correct answer is yes. If your child is unable to communicate their needs and wants, then they may engage in problem behavior in order to get what they want. For instance, if your child cannot ask for a snack, they may cry or hit the pantry door in an attempt to communicate their need. The correct answer is requesting. That's why we are dedicating this entire module to discussing how to teach requests. So you may be wondering, how do I teach these requests? Well, there are several steps involved in teaching your child how to request, and we will go over each of these individually. First, you will need to identify the items to teach. You will only attempt to teach your child when they are motivated for this item. You then will prompt your child to ask for the item and reward them for all appropriate attempts. Eventually, you will fade your prompts for asking for the items, and if they err while asking for the items, you will correct those errors. And lastly, you will continue to practice, practice, practice. The first step, as stated, is to identify which items you will teach your child to request. The best items to teach are the ones that are very rewarding to your child. If your child often wants certain items, they will be more motivated to learn to ask for these items. It is a good idea to choose only a few items to start with at a time. If you try to teach your child too many items at once, this could slow down how quickly they learn. Good items to start with are their favorite snacks or favorite toys. Another thing to consider is how complicated the word or sign for the item may be, or which pictures to include in the picture exchange book. That is, consider the practical aspect of the word you are choosing. For instance, if the sign for the chosen item is too complicated, your child may struggle or have difficulty successfully using it to request. The next step in teaching your child to request is to do your teaching sessions when your child is motivated. This means you should only attempt to teach requests at the times when your child actively shows interest in these items. We call this capturing your child's motivation. If you can teach at times when they are motivated and capture that motivation, then you will have more success. For example, if you are teaching your child to request food items, do so when your child is hungry, perhaps just before a mealtime. If you try to teach these requests after your child has just eaten a large meal, they may be less motivated because they are full. If you are unsure if your child is motivated, you can test for this by placing the item in front of them. If they reach for the item or begin to interact with it, then this means that they will be motivated to ask for it. This would be a good time to teach your child to request. But if your child doesn't seem interested or does not interact with the item, this might mean that you should not attempt to teach this item at this time because they are not motivated to learn. When you have found a good time to teach your child, the next step is to prompt them to say or sign the word. You do this by saying or signing the word yourself while holding the item in sight but out of reach for your child. Do your best to guide your child to say or sign the word before giving them the item. If you are teaching your child to sign, you can also physically guide them by making the sign by moving their hand or fingers for them. If you are using a picture exchange system, then you can gesture to the picture while saying the word out loud. For instance, point to the picture of the bike while saying the vocal word bike. The next step is to reward all attempts to request inside and outside of teaching sessions. Even if your child does not say the word or make the sign perfectly, still reward them by giving them a small piece of the item. If you are teaching food items, give your child just a small bite of the food. If you are teaching toys, allow your child to play with a toy for about 30 seconds. Giving your child small rewards like this helps to keep their motivation up and also allows for several teaching trials in one learning session. For example, if your child is learning to ask for a cookie, it is better to break that cookie up into 5 or 10 small pieces because this gives you 5 or 10 teaching opportunities instead of just one, as if you were to give your child the whole cookie. If the word or the sign are better or perfect, give your child a larger reward, so a bigger piece of a cookie or a whole minute while playing with a toy. During your teaching sessions, if your child begins to say or sign or exchange the picture on his own before you prompt him, give him the correct answer. You can begin to fade your prompts. To do this, wait a few seconds while holding the item inside of your child, but do not say anything. If your child doesn't ask for the item after a few seconds, then go ahead and prompt him. Giving your child a few seconds to ask for the item on his own will help to promote independent requesting, which is the ultimate goal. If at any point during teaching your child says the wrong word or makes the wrong sign or exchanges the wrong picture, be sure to correct this error before giving them the reward. Do this by prompting them to say, sign, or exchange the correct word, and once they say, sign, or exchange it correctly, then give them the item. Try to avoid rewarding incorrect words or signs, as this can confuse your child about which word they should actually be using. The final step or component in teaching your child to request is to practice as much as possible. There are hundreds of opportunities throughout the day to teach requesting. Do your best to capture these learning opportunities and have your child practice as much as possible. For example, if you can use mealtime to practice requesting for meal items, that'd be great. Break dessert into small bite-sized pieces or have your child ask for them one at a time. When doing a fun activity with your child, have your child request each piece of the toy to put together. For example, if you're making potato head or completing a favorite puzzle. The more you have your child practice asking for these items that they want, the quicker they will learn. By practicing throughout the day while engaging in daily activities, you may have many opportunities to practice without disrupting your daily routine and providing your child with a chance to practice in a natural setting. So this will not feel like you are teaching, but like you are playing with a purpose of promoting communication skills. Here is a video that will show when teaching how to use the sign or picture exchange system in order for the individual to get what they want or need. It is important to note that in the field of behavior analysis, focusing on requests are often referred to as mands. Therefore, this is why the headings on the video say mands instead of requests, but you can think of them as the same thing. It is also important to note that the sign in one of the videos when the child is bouncing on the trampoline is shaking his hands by his waist.
Candy. Candy. There you go, that's Candy. Candy. Good job, Candy. Nice job asking for candy. Bounce! Good job, Jake! 1, 2, 3! Bounce! Nice turn! Wow! Goldfish. Goldfish. Chip. Goldfish. Goldfish. Goldfish.
Car.
Okay, here's the car. Nice asking.
Piano.
Oh, here's the piano. Nice asking.
Piano.
Marker.
Marker.
That's better.
Remember, during our steps through teaching a request, we discussed the importance of motivation being present. Here is a video to show what this looks like.
Banana.
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 That's better.
Banana.
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 Whoa, super.
Want parachute?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good asking.
Oh, move it down. Okay.
Nice.
Now, here is a comparison video to show you when motivation is not present.
Banana.
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 Ba.
Banana.
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 Look here. Banana. Banana. Banana.
Banana.
Good trying. All kinds of yummy stuff. Good grapes. Raisin. Apple. Banana.
And he did know, move it over.
Now for a couple active parent responding questions.